And with that stable warfare, it brings us to our penultimate match of this evening. And Jay, our penultimate match, we actually have mates once again. We have Tomohiro Ishii taking on one Will Ospreay right here. A very different Will Ospreay than we maybe gotten in the past. Maybe in the maybe before people can say, "Oh, y'all might be too hard on Ospreay," but as of now, I don't think that's the case. Ospreay's character now is that he's a dick, and he's he's just going to let you know he's a dick. So we got him versus Tomohiro Ishii right now, and I don't know if this is because it's weird. These matches in G130, I don't know if it's because I haven't thought that like, okay, I'm like not getting a lot of acclaim to them, or I'm not considering that they could be great. But I maybe went in expecting more than what I was going to get. And this was still a fucking damn good match. Still a damn good match. We got Will Ospreay picking up the victory over Tomohiro Ishii. But I kind of enjoyed the match he had with Yujiro better than this one. And that's no disrespect to either one of these guys. But we got Will Ospreay picking up the victory, getting his fourth point right here. So Tomohiro Ishii, another guy that sitting here on 0-2 that I don't really hear not a lot of people talking about.
Well, there are some people talking about it, yes, because Ishii is always a tournament favorite. He's a guy that a lot of people feel should have an Intercontinental or IWGP title reign before he calls it a career. I personally don't think that's going to happen, but I totally get why people say that it should. And nobody has a bad match with Ishii. Well, if you have a bad match with Ishii, you should not be a wrestler. But that really was not a concern here. We had the obvious clash of styles thing. Although Ospreay has dropped the aerial part of the aerial assassin from his name. Now he's simply the assassin. And when I saw that he was doing that, I know it doesn't matter at all, but I thought to myself, somebody should tell Ivelisse, because that's what La Sicaria means. So you've basically got him taking Ivelisse's moniker, and for some reason, I find that funny. One thing that I did feel this match was missing, and this is not to trash it, because as you say, there was some very good stuff here. This was intra-faction warfare, just like Suzuki versus Taichi was, but you really wouldn't know it. And this had nothing to do with the commentary, but this didn't feel like a match between guys who were part of the same stable. And I feel like it should have. Because it's not like, Ospreay was in chaos for all of 5 minutes before COVID hit, so it's not like there's a history there. He's been part of this group since Okada brought him over. And I realize he hasn't been here. He doesn't, hang out with them and make Chaos Academy videos with Professor Yano. But at the same time, these guys are part of the same faction, and it just didn't feel like that's what we were looking at. And I don't mean it from the perspective of, we're putting that aside and we're just going to destroy each other to, get 2 points. It didn't feel like they were putting it aside. It felt like they were not acknowledging it at all. And I'm not exactly sure how to explain this, but when stablemates fight each other, it feels different from just two random people fighting each other. This did not come off the way that I expected it to.
No, like I said, I agree. Like, I thought it would be a match of the year candidate, and it maybe was not that. Another thing too, as we talk about the Chaos stable, Jay, and being a member of Chaos is almost kind of like working at Walmart, but y'all just work at different stores. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, we're part of the same stable, but we don't really do the same shit. So it's just kind of like, I just compare it to that. But still a great match though. And Ishii, of course, is going to be a G1 MVP when it's all said and done. Will Ospreay, got to give him his credit. He's had some good matches, 2-0 right here, so got to get his man his credit. But Will Ospreay, try as he might, my good sis, he is no Jay White, and I think that brings us to the main event. And who better to tell the people who's in the main event than you? So let them know.
Well, yeah, there is that. We had a very impressive main event in a lot of different ways, a rematch, if you will, from Wrestle Kingdom with Kota Ibushi squaring off against Switchblade Jay White. And there were several things to take into account here. We've had Jay White and Kota Ibushi meet under many circumstances. We had the double gold dash at Wrestle Kingdom. We had last year's G1. We had the G1 before that. I mean, these guys have met many times. And I think the question a lot of people had was, we know that Ibushi is going to bring it and be amazing and awesome because that's his thing. That's what he does. What's Jay going to do? Is it going to be constant interference from Geto the way that Dick Togo does for Evil and the way Geto has done it in the past? Are we going to see that, Jay has upped his game and is, dangerous enough on his own? What are we going to see? And what we saw was a systematic dismantling of Kota Ibushi, and I don't think there's anything else to call it. Ibushi comes in, having achieved victory over Okada in his opening match, and I don't want to say he wasn't ready for this. Obviously, he was. There were some fantastic exchanges in this match, but Jay always seemed like he was a step ahead. And the master of mind games is a cliche in and of itself, but you really have to apply it here. And I about lost it when Ibushi goes for the Kamagoye and Jay basically grabs him around the neck like he's gonna hug him and drops him with the Blade Runner, and I'm like, oh my god! I mean, the timing was flawless. It was absolutely beautiful. And from the beginning of the match, Jay was being an absolute twerp. Like, he kept rolling out of the ring and going up to the railing and trying to get people to chant Ibushi, Ibushi, because they're clapping and he's getting them to clap. He tried to get them to chant, which of course they cannot do right now. And then he would make fun of them that, you can't do it. You can't do it. And he was such a dick, but he was doing it in a way that nobody else quite pulls off. And what you said about Will Ospreay a minute ago bears repeating here. It's no secret that Will Ospreay desperately wants to be, the top heel in the promotion. He's said this many times back when he was still in the junior heavyweight division. But Will Ospreay doesn't seem to understand what makes a top heel really work. He seems to think if he's just an asshole to everybody, that's enough. Jay White shows you that it's not, that there's so much more to it, to make everybody hate you in the right ways. And Jay is just owning it in that. So, they go back and forth repeatedly. To Jay's credit, the interference from Geto was actually pretty minimal. There were 2 or 3 spots that are kind of the expected Geto interference, but yeah, I didn't like them, but if they're going to have them, those were the places to do it. Jay handled most of the match by himself. And it's a small thing, and this is going to sound really odd, but after Jay wins the match, and this was a 20-minute match, so I'm liking the fact that even though the main event is continually the longest match on the card, it doesn't have to go 30 minutes every time. Like, Naito and Tanahashi went, 27 minutes? But it never felt like that. It never felt that long. This one went 20 minutes, and that was exactly what it needed to be. If this had gone 27 minutes, it would have been bad. But
I
Jay
agree.
wins the match. He's laying on the mat with the microphone and just starts laughing. That little squirrel like cackle that he's got, the kind of high pitched one. And then he's just crawling around on his stomach across the ring, talking on the microphone, being a jerk to everybody. And it's kind of hard not to laugh along with him. It's just, oh my God, this is amazing. You go, Jay. Um, so I thought this match was fantastic. And if you watch it from the beginning, you're really not sure what happened that Kota Ibushi got so overwhelmed. Because I don't mean to imply that, Ibushi didn't get off any offense or that there weren't places where Ibushi nearly won it. But like Ibushi got Jay in that it's kind of like the package pile driver kind of move that
Yeah.
he's got. Yeah, Ibushi hit Jay with that, but he didn't follow up and try to cover him because Ibushi had been so done over, especially his knees. He drops Jay with that and then just kind of rolls over in the other direction like he could not follow up on it. And it wasn't one particular point where, this one move happened and from that point on, Ibushi was toast. It wasn't like that. And Ibushi himself even addressed that in the backstage comments. His exact words were, I don't understand why I lost. Now, you could be a jerk and say, because the ref counted to 3 when Jay pinned you, but that's not what he's meaning. And what's awesome about that is I've watched this match like 4 times. I'm not sure what happened either. But at some point, Ibushi just got completely not out wrestled, but out thought. Jay knows that Kota Ibushi can out wrestle anybody on this planet. So he went in with the strategy of making sure he didn't have to wrestle him. And it worked.
This is my analytical opinion, and this is, take it for whatever it is. Somebody who's watched sports for many, many years. And this is what I think happened with Kota Ibushi is when you have, let's just consider this NFL setting, Kota Ibushi, Kazuchika Okada, night 1 at Tokyo Dome, for all intents and purposes, is Kota Ibushi's Super Bowl. So he's trying to win a Super Bowl. He's trying to get it done, comes up short. He loses the Super Bowl. Anybody who's a football fan knows that most of the time, the team that lost the Super Bowl, they always have that Super Bowl hangover to where they kind of are like middling. They're not really sure what's going on. And maybe even down a peg or two from the season before. And I think him beating Okada night 1 was definitely some comeuppance from his Wrestle Kingdom loss to where it was like, all right, I got some revenge for my Wrestle Kingdom loss. And he knows he can beat Jay White because he's beaten Jay White before. Hell, he's beaten Okada before. But he beat Jay White to win the G1 Climax last year. And I'm not saying that Kota Ibushi overlooked Jay White, but Kota Ibushi overlooked Jay White because he could beat him before, and Jay White was able to overwhelm him, and that's what happened right here. And shout out to Jay White right here because we've been calling him for many, many a year, probably shit since G1 28. We've been saying Jay White's the best heel in pro wrestling, and you can go back. I was gonna say you can go back many shows, but of course you can't do that right now. Inside joke. But if you have any access, I was gonna say if you have access to those or you remember, then yeah, we've been talking about this, and Jay White's been saying at this point, I'm the best. Nah, I'm not the best. I'm the best wrestler in the world. And man, to what he does, to how he plays, I don't think you can really argue. It's hard to argue with him because how he plays his character and how he does everything, he's definitely the best at what he does. He's definitely because I know a lot of people they watch AEW, and I'm a fan of this guy. MJF, great heel, decent heel. He does great work. In my honest opinion, I know people have various opinions, but the heel work between Jay White and the MJF is like almost between college and high school. Like Jay White is in college, almost senior year, and MJF is like sophomore, junior year. And it's no disrespect to MJF, but the shit that Jay White is doing, especially his heel work, it's just the little intricacies that he does in his matches. It's off the page, and he definitely should get his credit as one of the best wrestlers in the world right here, because he absolutely is. He's one of the smartest wrestlers, as we've always said. He's definitely one of the best wrestlers in the world right here. He got the job done. He's 2-0 right now. Get him and Ghetto a damn chair in the post match, because that I think at this point they kind of need it. They absolutely need it. They work well. Not necessarily Ghetto, but Jay White worked pretty hard. So I think this was a solid at G1 Climax 30 action, night 3. The first 2 matches, I mean, maybe hit or miss for some people, but the last 3, most definitely worth checking out. I would say probably just because of the storyline implications, my match tonight is probably Taichi versus Minoru Suzuki, just because the stuff that happened like towards the end of the match, I didn't think Taichi was going to pull it off. And yeah, he was able to pull it off. But yeah, if you were to say Ibushi and Jay White, because that was a fucking amazing match, I wouldn't argue. Hell, if you were even to say Ishii versus Will Ospreay, I wouldn't argue with you on that. But for my money, I got to go with Taichi Minoru Suzuki.
Well, I can absolutely see that. And it's funny because I'm the reversal of that, by the smallest of margins, my match of the night was Jay White versus Kota Ibushi, just because of the absolute art that went on in that ring. And Suzuki versus Taichi was just a little bit below it, even taking into account all the story stuff. I've got to say that Jay and Ibushi is my match of that night.
You're not going to get no argument from me. So night 3 was damn good, which kind of migrates us on to night 4. We're on the B block, so we might as well get into it without any further ado. So the first match we got on this night, I guess Gabriel Kidd, he was off as far as his pro wrestling endeavors. First match we got on this night, we got Yota Tsuji actually getting a little comeuppance, a little revenge from night 1, defeating Yuri Yamura right here. So we all know with these Young Lion matches, you're not going to get a whole lot of razzle dazzle, not a whole lot of moonsaults, 450s, anything like that. I expect them to be simple, basic, and know the fundamentals, as long as that's what they do and they bring energy. That's all we can ask for. So we got, like I said, Yota Tsuji getting the win with Boston Crab. I thought this was really good, and I'm glad Yota Tsuji got this victory back, because Yota Tsuji, this man's been all over the place as far as this tour goes. He's dissing people. He's being nice to people. He's indifferent. I'm just glad he gets his victory, his comeuppance right here. So,
well, I was chatting with a mutual who had listened to our previous show and absolutely cracked up at my Mohamed Yone from Pro Wrestling Noah reference to Yota Tsuji, and her comment was that Mohamed Yone needs to show up and give Tsuji legendary afro tips, because his hair is just not acceptable right now. And I cannot disagree with that. The boy needs some conditioner stat. But yeah, this was really fun. And I liked that we got a reversal from night 1, because Uyemura beat Tsuji there, Tsuji beats Uyemura here, and then in his backstage comments, what does Tsuji do? Calls out Hinare. So, well, now granted, when I say called out, it was the nice kind of calling out, where he's basically saying, hey, Hinare, what's up, man? Where are you at? It would be cool to fight you right now, because we were supposed to, but, that didn't happen. And when you come back, we should fight. So he wasn't being a jerk to him like he was being to Gabriel Kidd. But because we've seen Tsuji kind of, throw a little bit of shade in his, talking to people, it just kind of makes you wonder if there wasn't a little bit of that implicit in, oh, you're not here in Japan where you should have been. If you ever bother to show up again, I'd like to fight you. I mean, you could interpret it that way if you really wanted to. So I'm choosing to, because that's funny.
You know what? I will allow it because I think it's pretty damn funny too, to be honest. So he's like, "Hey man, look, I win by default." Is what Yoda Suji's, I guess, mind frame is. And shout out to Yoda Suji. Get your victories when you can, man, because you know what, life is hard. Get your wins, baby. So speaking of getting Jay, speaking of getting wins, we got our first G1 Climax action of Block B tonight. We got Hiroki Goto taking on our boy, Cold Skull himself, Sonata. And even though he's our boy, can we just go on record and say I think we're both in agreement to say we both hate Sonata's new mask? It might be the worst mask that he's ever worn, and it's ugly. It's you can probably find this damn. It's pretty much the time is coming up. You can damn near find this at the toy section in kid at Walmart, like for real. Like I was talking about Walmart earlier. You can damn near find this mask at Walmart, Meijer, whatever store is like that by you. You can find Sonata's mask there because that's probably where the fuck he got it from, to be honest, right here. But
the mask and the jacket are utter trash. On the last episode, I gave credit to the hair, you know, the silver hair and the style and everything. That's lovely. That can stay. The pants on their own are not terrible, but I'm going to be mourning the loss of the pirate gimmick for quite some time, and I would appreciate your support and thoughtfulness in this difficult time. But, you know, all that aside, you know, Goto versus Sonata was one of those matches that was going to be low-key good, even if people were not really talking about it, or, you know, nobody's looking at it going, oh, yes, I want to see that match. You know, you see this on paper and you don't have that thought, but then you see the match and you're reminded just how good these guys can be together. They have a different sort of chemistry than they have with other people because, you know, Goto hits hard and Goto has vicious moves, but Goto's not just a brawler. He is more precise than that. He's got more to offer than that. And I think, you know, sleeping on this match was a mistake because this was good. Although I do have some issue with some of the camera angles for a couple of things that happen because if Goto is going to hit Sonata with basically a, you know, reverse GTR where Sonata's going throat first across Goto's knee, we should be seeing that from the other side of the ring, not where you've basically got, you know, the side of Goto's leg and Sonata's butt facing the camera, because that was freaking vicious and we couldn't see it.
It's just like instead of that, we end up just looking at ass. So it is what it is. We just saw ass.
Don't get me wrong. There's a time and place for that, and he should be very proud of what he has. However, the timing was terrible.
There is, though. Honestly, in my opinion, this ended up turning to be a really good, solid match with Goto succeeding to getting a pretty straightforward victory to Cincinnati to 0-2 right here. This probably at the end of the tournament won't be anybody's best match of the tournament, but I feel it was really well worked. Both wrestlers executed well enough, in my opinion. And the wrestling, honestly, was really, even though you know, maybe there was some stuff in there that kind of was maybe stagnant. I thought they wrestled a really, really smart match, and I thought these guys gave a really good effort that shouldn't really go unrewarded. So I thought it was solid. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a match of the tournament type deal, but these guys put in a really, really solid effort. Like we said, Sonata's sitting on 0-2 right here. Goto picks up a nice, solid win, and I think his next match in the tournament, he has the double champ. A man has been a thorn in his fucking side since 2015, Tetsuya Naito. So Goto, man, if he and Hiroshi Tanahashi were on two different planes night one, where the hell do y'all think y'all at? I'll let you ponder that question, Hiroki Goto, because I know you listen to us. I know you do. So ponder that question as you listen to us and get ready for your match. Prepare, do all that you might, but you know what's happening. We all know what's happening. So.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, and
fight.
well, and regarding the upcoming match that Goto has against Naito, as only he can do, Naito, you know, threw a whole forest of shade at Goto, saying in backstage comments that, oh, well, we've got this long until our match. You have time to go work out under a waterfall.
Goddamn Naito. Fucking.
And yeah, I was feeling, I don't want to say concerned, because again, I have learned how G1 works over the years. But, Sonata's at 0 points and 2 losses right now. And like I said earlier about Shingo, I think Sonata's another one who could be gearing up for a run that, he's taking his losses in the beginning and then he's going to be powering through a lot of other people as we go. And I know I mentioned this to you earlier. They have the next round of matches. After this next round of B block matches where Naito and Goto face off, after that, it's Naito versus Sonata. And I'm telling you right now that if Sonata loses his next match and he's 0 for 3, Sonata's beating Naito. I think that the deeper of a hole Sonata is in, the more likely he's going to get the biggest win possible at the next opportunity. So if Sonata loses his next match, I'm calling it that Sonata's going to beat Naito.
I don't think he'll be too far off base, to be honest. Like, I think we might be seeing that, and then, maybe Naito goes, not want to say undefeated, but he might have one more loss after that, but I think that's a safe bet, and we will definitely talk about that once we get to talk about it. But the next match we have the two gentlemen who are not strangers to each other in, any form or fashion. We have the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, taking on the trickster himself, the king of pro wrestling champion currently, Toru Yano right here. So I believe I saw something on Twitter that said these guys actually went to a 30-minute time limit draw. So me thinking about Toru Yano in any sort of fashion like that, I just was like, wow, they went to a 30-minute draw. I just thought that was this mind-boggling to me right here. So ultimately here, Jay, you get Tanahashi hitting some of the offense you'd expect out of Tanahashi. We got a super utterly ridiculous spot as Yano got taped around his eyes. He's blind, and he somehow still manages to make it back into the ring, and he pins Tanahashi with shenanigans right here. But you know what? I laughed that shit up. I laughed. I did. I was just like, this was hilarious to me. I don't care. Yano's 2-0 right here. Tanahashi's 0-2. The world's turned upside down. Cats living with dogs. I'm with it.
Mass hysteria.
Exactly. Mass freaking hysteria. Jay, what do you say?
Okay. This is the match of the tournament right here, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Yeah, we've got another 7-minute Yano match, but oh my lord, this was so great because Yano takes a turnbuckle pad off. Tanahashi gets it away from him, kneels down in the ring and plays air guitar with it. And then he and Yano are fighting over turnbuckle pads. Tanahashi dragon screw leg whipped a turnbuckle pad. Think about the words that just came out of my mouth in that order. Oh my god. And yeah, the fact that Yano with his eyes taped up is still able to low blow Tanahashi and get a win. Okay, sure, Yano, but I do need to point out that this match and Tanahashi's first match really followed a pattern despite the fact that they're completely different in every other way. In both cases, Tanahashi did everything but win the match. He had it won, and then he lost it. So it's not a situation of, oh, broken down old man Tanahashi can't go anymore. He's bringing it in these matches. He is, doing everything but getting the 3 count. And I think that's kind of telling.
Oh, your boy, I gotta agree with that because, and honestly, too, I think with this match, Jay, with Tanahashi, I think he kind of needed this maybe lax match after the intense match he had with Tetsuya Naito to kind of get a breather a little bit. So I think that's what this match served, and ultimately, in my opinion, it served its purpose. So I'm not upset with that. Let Tanahashi get a little bit of rest and have a comedic match with one Toru Yano. You get a match out the way. You let Tanahashi rest by having pretty much what is essentially a house show match, and you kill two birds with one stone. I'm not disappointed or upset with that. So it is what it is. It's just like whatever. And we got one of the men who I think would say is a top 3 SOS Wrestling Network favorite right here. We have representing the Bullet Club, the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship briefcase holder. It's weird to say that, honestly. So that, forget my Freudian slip because I'm so used to saying it the other way around. The man who has returned to Japan, Kenta, right here, taking on another man right here who was very synonymous with the U.S. title himself. He had dreads, cut his hair off. Now he got long hair again. It's greasy. He looked like a blues brother. Juice Robinson right here. And this was a pretty, I don't want to say slow. This match was a meticulous wrestling match. And there's stuff in this match I think there is to like because it's definitely not completely void of enjoyability, in my opinion. I have confidence during this tournament with other opponents. Both these guys are going to put hella good efforts on it and have great matches. But I guess I maybe had a little bit more exceeding expectations, which is I guess a reoccurring record with me here in these G1 Climax matches. I was maybe expect a little bit more because I know how good both of these guys are. And we get Juice Robinson to actually, my surprise, beating Kenta, who was holding a briefcase, because I actually said to you, I thought that maybe since Kenta is holding his briefcase, his only loss would be either to Naito being the double champ or Evil being the former double champ, and considering he was holding that briefcase. And you made a good point. You're like, this keeps Juice Robinson in that U.S. Heavyweight Championship mix. So he beat the briefcase holder, who I'm going to assume eventually will beat Jon Moxley whenever that match is to take place. We don't have any word when that match is going to happen. Renee Young is putting that match off as much as possible because her man's safety is definitely in danger going there with Lil K. But Juice Robinson gets the win, and like he pretty much like he put it to me in our chat. I can maybe the match wasn't as what I expected, but the result I can live and I can respect the result of Juice Robinson winning, keeping him in that U.S. title mix because we don't know when David Finlay is going to be able to come back over. So if he can't be in the tag team title mix, put him back in the U.S. heavyweight title mix. Definitely for it.
Well, I think it was a mistake to take the U.S. title off of Juice Robinson in the manner in which they did. And granted, nobody knew what was going to happen, but when he lost that to Moxley, he never really got a chance to win it back because then there was the typhoon and Moxley couldn't make the show and he got stripped of the title, but they put Archer in there before Archer went to AEW. And so Juice was kept out of it that way. But despite the whole idea that this title was literally created for Kenny Omega, there really is nobody better suited to wear that title than Juice Robinson is. And I think the sooner he gets that back, the better will be. And I say that with having no problem whatsoever with Kenta being the United States champion, just because, dickhead Kenta as the quintessential American champion would have been hysterical. Like, being in Japan but refusing to speak Japanese for promos, like, at all, and embracing every horrible stereotype of what an American is would have been great, but only for a certain amount of time. I really feel like that title is meant to be with Juice Robinson, and I want him to get it back. So we'll see how that goes. But I had not even thought of that when I was first doing the brackets, and then when I watched the match and Juice actually won, I was like, oh my God, what just happened? And then I realized, oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. I like the Blues Brothers look. I think it works for him pretty well. I know I said before, yeah, they're introducing him as the flamboyant Juice Robinson, and this is the least flamboyant outfit that man has ever worn.
It really is. Even though his tights, they do have some sparklies on them. I did notice that. I was like, oh, look at them sparklies. I was like, I see. He's like, I'm not flamboyant, but I still am. He's like, he's trying to be serious, but he's like still kind of not in his heart of hearts. He's like, I'm serious, but he's like still like smirking, trying not to laugh and shit with his sparklies. But no, respect to Juice Robinson. He keeps his U.S. heavyweight title mix. And another thing too, I just was thinking about this as far as U.S. heavyweight championship reigns, New Japan or otherwise. But remember, I don't know if you remember when Moxley was a part of the Shield and he was the U.S. champion, and like he was like a really long reigning U.S. champion, but it was because he really didn't defend it at all.
Uh-huh.
This reign is kind of similar to that. I'm like, damn. Is he not? Is he or is he not in WWE anymore? I don't know. Is he not in the Shield? Guess not. But guys, now we get to our penultimate match of this night, and this is a match I've seen talked about on Twitter, being heralded and praised, being shat upon. It's been, hey, this is the greatest match ever. To where this is just an okay match. So we get Evil taking on Yoshihashi right here, and shout out to the good homie. Probably be on this channel soon. I don't know what he's doing, but shout out to you, LK, because you always talk about this, and nobody else ever. We talk about it too, but nobody else ever talks about it besides us. God damn it, Yoshihashi finally used that damn staff. He finally used the staff. How long have we been clamoring for this man to use a staff? I don't know, 3-4 years. I don't know.
Years.
He finally uses the staff here, and I'm like, okay, this is what I love how that match started like that right here. Evil, of course, sitting in the chair, almost kind of taunting Yoshihashi, but because, of course, back during the New Japan Cup, Evil completely washed Yoshihashi in less than 5 minutes. I'm not sure the exact time stamp, but it was definitely less than 5 minutes. He just destroyed him. So you kind of expected Yoshihashi to get a little bit of retaliation, a little bit of comeuppance right here. So since he's won the Never Openweight Six-Man Trios belt, I can't lie, we've had a little bit of a motivated Yoshihashi. So I got to give him his credit right here. He's kind of shined. He seems like he has something to prove, and it carried through in this match right here. Evil definitely had a pep in his step in this match, and his contributions in this match shouldn't go unremarked. He made Yoshihashi's offense look good, and it was on point, and he really was an aggressor, and he never really came off, in my opinion, as wasting time or slowing things down too much. So this match just hit notes that I really honestly wasn't expecting it was going to hit. The crowd played along, it got into it, they were clapping throughout. This match honestly was super welcome, especially between these two guys. I almost thought Yoshihashi was going to pick the victory up. They almost fucking had me. I was like, damn it, is Yoshihashi about to beat Evil right here? But it was all for naught. He fended off Dick Togo various times in his match, but ultimately he just couldn't do it at the end. Everything is Evil after a nut shot. Very, very good stuff. I had fun with this match. No complaints from me. Good stuff by both guys.
Yeah, I have to give credit where it's due. This is the best Yoshihashi match I've ever seen. Now, to be fair, consider the competition. But both of them, I think they do well with each other. Evil just bullying Yoshihashi, and for once, he's bringing it back. Like that first round of punches in the corner, I'm sitting there watching this, going, "Damn, Yoshi, somebody taught you how to punch." I mean, everything was not, fabulous, and do not mistake my critique of this match for jumping on the Yoshihashi train, because I do not and never will have any use for him as a wrestler. However, this is the best I've ever seen from him, so well played to you, sir. The actual using the staff, I completely lost it on that, because like you say, for how many years have we been talking about that? When he threw Evil into Dick Togo and knocked him off the ring apron. That was pretty cool. Um, and again, this is one of those matches where Yoshihashi kind of owned it. He did everything but get the 3 count, and then Evil low blows him and gets the win, and that's all she wrote. But yeah, Yoshihashi was really the driving force in this match, and I never thought that I would say those words.
I mean, hey, sun shines on a dog's ass sometimes. Am I right? Am I right about that? I mean, hey, shout out to Yoshihashi. Shout out to Evil here. They put on a damn good match, which lends us to our main event of the evening for night 4. And it's going to put us on a break till about Sunday. I think that's the next time we get some G1 action. So, of course, we got closing this match. We have the double champ himself, Tetsuya Naito, sitting on 2 points, taking on one Zack Sabre Jr. right here. And I was looking forward to this match when we got the brackets. I know, everybody here listening to us knows the history between ZSJ and one Tetsuya Naito. I was expecting the great main event, and ultimately, guys, we got one. They baited me so many times because Naito knows how to sell Zack Sabre Jr.'s offense really fucking well. They got it done with that bait. I took the fucking bait right here. They made it seem like it would go the distance, and I looked at it and I took that dangle bait, but Tetsuya Naito was able to put Zack Sabre Jr. away right here. This is a fucking great match. Tetsuya Naito's 2 for 2 for having matches in G1. MVP of the G1 right now. I don't care what nobody says. Of course, I'm going to be biased, but from my opinion, Naito's MVP of the G1. He just beat one of the ghosts of his past. He beat 2 ghosts of his past right here, and one Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tetsuya Naito, or not himself, but Zack Sabre Jr. And he's getting ready pretty soon to take on a stablemate. So Tetsuya Naito's rolling, man, and he's putting on damn good matches. He's a double champ for a reason, guys. Give that man his credit.
Oh, he is doing amazingly well. And this was one of the matches I was looking forward to also because, really, Zack had a winning record against Naito at this point. There was, about a year and a half that Naito could not beat him. Zack tapped him out like 3 times, something like that. And so you're very much aware that it could absolutely happen again. And that's what's so great about Zack is that you might not see him as winning the whole thing, but much like Yano, though in a completely different way, Zack could beat anybody on any given night, and he has done. I mean, think back to that New Japan Cup where he swept it. And, he tapped out Tanahashi and Ibushi and Sonata and Naito, and he wins. And we were all just like, whoa, wait, what? And he's periodically beaten all of those guys. Yeah, this match almost went the distance. They were a minute and a half away from a time limit draw, and I honestly thought we might get one. Once we hit about the 25-minute mark and they were still going, I thought, oh man, is this going to be a draw? And they came very, very close. Not as close as that one Okada Sonata match from last year, but, a minute and a half is still very, very close. And oh my God, that DDT, and he spiked Naito right on his head. And I think I gasped and jumped in the chair a little bit. I've watched the GIF of that like 500 times today, and just, oh my God, wow. And yeah, I think that Sonata and Zack have just exquisite chemistry together, but Naito and Zack have a different flavor of chemistry, but I really, really like it. I think they're great opponents for each other. And even in his backstage comments, Zack actually gave credit to Naito, and this time when he called him dickhead, he said so with a tone of admiration in his voice that wasn't there before. He even said, well played. And then you saw him kind of snap out of it, and he's like, Well, I was going to do it the easy way, but I'll just do it the hard way. I'm going to win this stupid tournament, and I'm going to take all your belts one at a time. I'm going to win the G1, and at Power Struggle, I'm going to have an IC title shot, and I'm going to win that, and then I'll get the big one at the Tokyo Dome. And then he just walks away. And uh, Zach and his backstage comments are the best. And yeah, I don't really get tired of watching them wrestle. Yeah, I genuinely don't believe that either one of them is going to make it to the finals, but I'm not going to be sad if they do. But this match, this is my other favorite match. And I know both of us are guilty of the whole bias thing, but my top two tournament matches, without question, are both of Naito's matches so far. I swear we didn't plan on that.
We didn't. He did double champ for a reason, man. He put in some of the best work of his career, and he got Toroki Goto on Tuesday morning. So more fodder for the double champ. More. It is what it is. A guy, not even really a thorn in the side, more like a flea to John when we talk about Hiroki Goto and Tetsuya Naito. So
did you hear what he said? I mean, in addition to the waterfall comment.
No.
Oh God, Naito's backstage comments after this were brutal, but in a way that only he can deliver it. He spends most of it talking about Zach, and then he talks about he's facing Hiroki Goto next, and then he kind of stops and he goes, "Didn't he beat Sonata tonight? Wow, that's a miracle." You call it a miracle because it almost never happens. He's kind of used up his miracles for the G1, wouldn't you think? I'm just like, oh my God, okay.
Naito, oh my God, Naito coming with the heat right here. And I'm looking at the A block matches. We got some fire on that. We got Jeff Cobb and Suzuki, Ibushi versus Ishii, got Ospreay taking on Shingo, and the main event of that night, as we talked about before, King Switch taking on Kazuchika Okada. So Block A Sunday morning will be lit as fuck. I will be hyped after Paulo Costa beats the skinny claw himself, Israel Adesanya, in a UFC fight. I'll be hyped after that. So yeah, we'll be here to talk about it. And then yeah, Tuesday we'll be moving right along. So this has been our G1 Climax Night 3 and Night 4 reviews. Thank you. Go ahead and subscribe and all that good stuff. Hopefully y'all enjoyed them. And yeah, Jay, is there anything you want to say before we close these bad boys up?
If you have not had the time or the inclination to watch all of the matches, that is completely understandable, but there's some fantastic stuff going on, and if you can arrange the time to do it, you will not be disappointed.
100%. So you heard it there. We'll be back at y'all soon, strong, better than ever, as we always are. You know what it is. You know what to do. Go ahead and subscribe to us here on the Podbean thing. So yeah, man, we just ready. This G1 moving along. We moving along. So we holler at y'all later, and y'all already know what to do, man. Tranquilo.